everybody. We are back on this beautiful day, March 24th, another beautiful Saturday here where we at. I hope it's beautiful for you, but we're back. This is Sipping Tea with MBG. I'm Amber J, and of course I got my girl Lily Mae in the house.
Whoop, whoop.
Again, we about to bring the fire, so we hope you got your coffee, your liquor, whatever it is that you sipping on, your Russian tea, as Lily Mae say. As we're going to get down and dirty, and this month, March for Women's Month, man, has really been. We've been going in, Lily. We've been going in. Like I thought we went in for January and February, but I think we really going in on the women's. I mean, discussing, like today, what we're going to discuss today. Last week was about masculinity and femininity. Before that was the comparison of angry black woman and the media. I mean, we've been going in, especially with the history and everything. It's been a lot. I've been learning. I hope you've been learning. We just been going in. So I hope those that have been checking in with us, y'all been taking it in and saying, I ain't know that. That's interesting. Or, yeah, I agree. Or, no, I disagree. But whatever it is, again, it's educational at the end of the day, and we just informing. And, of course, I always want to remind you, for those that are in the Metro Richmond area in Virginia, that you can check out our new season of MBG Speaks 101 Season 3, Thursdays from 9 to 10 p.m. We're getting into that, the whole generational thing. As Lily said, if you ain't got no thick skin, you may not want to check in. I'm just saying.
And this real, Amber, before we jump into the show, guys, this show is going to be significant. And we're going to talk about independent versus dependent. And I think it's important that we talk about this because Amber J and I are in the process of doing some new things with MBG. And so towards the end of this show, I might have to drop the bombshell. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great because when we talk about being independent and we talk about women being dependent, I think it's important that we emphasize MBG is an independent entity which depends on affiliates, but we are not solely dependent. And I think that it's important that at the end of this show, we drop that bomb. So let's rock.
All right. Well, of course, as always, we're just going to do a little recap of last week. And again, for those that didn't check in, but if you did, great anyway. And again, we talked about femininity and masculinity and gave characteristics based on the Critical Media Project, how the media portrays gender roles and different things like that. And pretty much the characteristics that was under masculine and feminine pretty much could be interchangeable depending on the person. As I was explaining last week, that even though under the characteristics of masculine, you might have had aggression, you can get women can be aggressive too, but it just depends on how strong that characteristic is for you. So not every characteristic that was particularly under each one meant for that role, but it's just interchangeable because, like I stated, some men can be submissive, some women can be submissive, some women can be aggressive, and vice versa. So we just touched on that, and just pretty much saying just be you. If you know you got some characteristics that's kind of more stronger than the other, then it may be something you need to work on. As always, we always talk about self-reflect, so that's not new on this show. But we're going to go ahead and jump on into the history. Okay, again, this is Women's History Month. Some stuff you may know, some stuff you may not know, but we're going to tell you anyway. On March 21st, 1986, Debbie Thomas became the first African-American woman to win the World Figure Skating Championship. Very interesting. That I didn't know. March 22nd, 1972, Congress passes the Equal Rights Amendment, which granted equal rights for women but was never ratified by the required number of states. Interesting.
Wow.
March 23rd, 1924, Betty Nesmond Graham was born, and she invented liquid paper correction fluid, a brand of whiteout. Didn't know a woman made that. March 24th, 1912, Dorothy Height is born, and she served more than 40 years as president of the National Council of Negro Women and worked to foster interracial dialogue. And March 26, 1940, Nancy Pelosi was born and became the first and so far the only female U.S. Speaker of the House in 2007. I also want to give a quick shout-out to my mom. Happy birthday to her, and also happy birthday to my cousin Theo. They'll both be celebrating their birthdays this weekend and the rest of the month.
Wow, happy birthday. That's wow. So all of y'all were born in March.
Yeah, all of us.
That's radical. That's radical.
Yep. So we're going to jump onto this independent women thing, dependent, what it all means as far as women, and I don't know. Y'all got to get ready because Lily going to go in.
Yeah, Amber, I'm struggling with the you really put me in a compromising position. I don't have much to say about dependency. You know how I feel about that. People who profess to be independent are more dependent than they think, and yeah. So I'm a step back on the dependent tip, and I might let you just talk about that because I don't want to offend too much because perception sometimes becomes reality, and I struggle with toning it down sometimes. So I first want to let me just give you guys the definition of an independent woman from the Urban Dictionary, okay? And the definition of an urban woman from the Urban Dictionary is a woman who pays her own bills, buys her own things, and does not allow a man to affect her stability or self-confidence. She supports herself on her own entirely and is proud to be able to do so. Okay, so if someone were to ask me what signifies an independent woman, I would take that definition and I would break it down into 7 categories, and 7 is the number of completion, so that's how I'm going to take it. Self-sufficiency, meaning that an independent woman is able to sustain herself all the way around. And I'm just going to be completely blunt and honest, financially, spiritually, sexually, emotionally, everything. Because the reality is that if you don't know yourself, how are you going to expect somebody else to get to know you and learn you and grow with you? Resilience. To me, an independent woman is resilient because if you're independent and if you're making things happen on your own, you have to be resilient. You have to be able to bounce back from whatever is going on, because 9 times out of 10, independent women may generally have 1 or 2 people that they can consult with. You notice I didn't say depend on. Consult with in the time of adversity or in the time of need. An independent woman is financially literate. You notice I didn't say financially well off or anything like that. I think it's important that financial literacy is addressed, because financially literate is just like being able to read. Financially literate means that you have the ability to understand what you should be doing with your money, and you're striving to make those things happen, which coincides with the definition of an independent woman, which states that an independent woman is someone that pays her own bills and buys her own things. And pretty much, if you are financially literate, you can handle those tasks. Now, Amber, this one is interesting, because to me, an independent woman has the ability to follow and the ability to lead. And people were probably thinking out there, what are you talking about? Well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you haven't seen Black Panther, you need to see it, because guess what? When it's time to revolt, a woman does have to lead. And if you don't know how to lead, and if all you ever are doing is following, what are you going to feel like your role is? You're going to always feel like your role is to submit and follow someone else's lead. You can learn to lead without being taught, but it requires you to take a look at yourself and accept who you are and grow in who you are and work towards who and what you want to be. But I'm not going to touch that too much. An independent woman is organized, mentally organized. You got to make sure you're not all over the place. Because if your mind is all over the place, you can't be independent.
Right.
Because you're going to spend more time depending on everybody else to figure out which way you need to go. An independent woman is self-motivated. Let me tell you something. If you got to post pictures on Facebook all day and Instagram and Snap just so you can feel motivated and ready to rock and roll, it's something wrong. Your pictures should be motivation for others.
Right.
And that's where that self-drive comes in. You got to be ready to rock it out on your own. You know, and I'm just we're speaking to the women, but women, as independent women, we have the capacity to face life's challenges. And we have the capacity to help a man become a I can do anything man. I need you to understand this. Independent women are necessary to help men lead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Most independent women have been help deprived. And when I say that, it means that most independent women, and I'm guilty of this, have been taught that asking for help is a sign of weakness. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So there are many times I'll say no and leave it at that. And I might change my mind. But a lot of times I need the adventure on my own to figure out what needs to be done so then I can give others guidance. And it's important to put that out there because a lot of people don't quite understand that independent women are not loners. Independent women can be very intimidating, but independent women thrive on their independence for the majority of the time. And one thing I will tell you about an independent woman is an independent woman is a woman that loves to love. And once again, I'm always going to use, personal experience. I'll always tell, if I get into a situation where I'm talking to somebody, look, I might not be the most affectionate partner, but one thing that I am good at is how I display my love when it's there. And that's why I tell people all the time, one thing you will know if I like you, and you will damn sure know if I love you. But Amber, just tell me what you feel about, the little bit that I put out there about independent women. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you. And I'm just going to, add from my experience, especially when it comes to, the financial part of everything. I think when it comes to independent women, everything that you're saying, I do agree. But being independent takes sacrifice. And what I mean by that is being independent, you're going to have to make some decisions that may not be feasible to what your current situation is. And that's called stepping out on faith. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes as women we have that intuition, we have that inkling, and as much as we can compare and contrast with the logical and the emotional, sometimes just stepping out on the unknown, the independent move, and it's sacrificial because you don't know. You just know this is what I got to do, despite of, because you know something else is coming, because you know something's getting ready to happen. And I just want to add that into the independent part, because if you're dependent, the opposite of that, fear is what's going to hold you down and not make you move. Fear of losing somebody. Like I said, we know we're talking about the women. This can go for men too, because we know some men out here that's dependent, but we're going to leave that alone because we talked about that in mental health. So, dependent can bring that fear to where you you need to make moves and do things, but you're fearful that something may happen, the negative, really. But versus the independent woman, yes, she may, have to encounter those things, but she's able to work through or make a way for that. And I think it's just, being independent is learning and just fighting through the fire and the odds of what the others may say. I totally agree with everything that you saying.
It's just, Amber, is crazy though. It's just so crazy because people associate independence with strength. Mm-hmm. You notice I didn't say an independent woman is strong, because a strong woman and an independent woman are two different things. Mm-hmm. I know y'all mouths probably dropped. But a strong woman and an independent woman are two different things. Because you can have an independent woman who is self-sufficient, resilient, mm-hmm. financially literate, organized, and all of that, but she still doesn't know who she really is.
That's true.
And a strong woman knows who they really are. A strong woman sticks it out for themselves. And if you want to know where I got the information about a strong woman from, you can consult Purposeberry. But, a strong woman is a woman that truly, without a shadow of a doubt, is able to withstand the test of time. But a strong woman is able to accept criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Because they challenge themselves.
Constructive.
Mm-hmm. And they're always looking for room to improve. Mm-hmm.
Because the person hating because you stepping out, and then so constructive now. An independent woman ain't gonna sit up there and take no food. Well, why you do that? I don't know about all that. That ain't gonna work. No, that's not gonna work. Because you mad because you ain't stepping out on your goals and your dreams and your intuition. Ain't my fault.
Mm-hmm.
But constructive is, maybe you want to look at it this way, or that's a good way. Have you thought about that?
And Amber, it's interesting that you say that, because, we have lots of conversations, and, you'll say, well, maybe this, or maybe that, and I'll be like, oh, okay. And, I'm going to end up doing it my way anyway, but
right.
I'm glad that you say a constructive criticism, because it just triggers. That's what that's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And a strong woman is one who knows how to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying, guys, and remember, this is Sipping Tea with MBG, and we want you to understand it's never our intent to offend, but we really want to bring it to you because for this Women's History Month, Amber and I have been undergoing some significant changes in our lives. MBG is undergoing significant changes. MBG is undergoing some infrastructural things that require us to have this conversation about how independent are you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what Amber J and I understand is that sometimes you have to be independent and depend on affiliates, but always maintain your independence.
Right.
Because sometimes when you begin to become codependent, you will find that people will try to manipulate you, and people will try to make you feel that you need to change your outlook and your prognosis, when the reality is that you're just lazy.
Mhm.
And when you're independent, you're not lazy. And it could be a generational thing, because that's something that we'll be talking about on Sipping Tea with MBG. But, Amber, I think when you're independent, you don't mind going the extra mile to research. But I think when you're dependent, I think a dependent individual or dependent woman needs instant gratification. It needs to be on her fingertips. If she got to put her hand all the way in it, she don't want it.
Right.
But I'm just saying. But I'm gonna let you tackle dependent, because I'm feeling some type of way.
Well, dependent is the opposite of what pretty much Lily has been saying. Dependent is just that, depending on other people and other things rather than yourself. Um, being dependent on a situation can be good or bad. Like Lily was saying, it's okay to be independent and depend on affiliates. It's okay to depend on those that you can, that you know that's going to be there. I'll give you an example. I always, I try to be as transparent as possible. When I ain't had no job, and I had a job fair that was coming up, and my car was gone, and I had to call on people. And I had some people to show me that I couldn't depend on them. But prior to all that happening, they was calling me, worrying me to death, asking me for help. So when I asked for help and in need, they wasn't around. And there was only 3 people that actually helped me. One of them is my co-host. Now that's dependent. To know that actually somebody is there to help you in, not necessarily in a time of need, but just somebody is there that you actually can depend on, that is dependable, that is trustworthy, that if you had $1 left, they give you $2. That type of dependent.
Mm-hmm.
That's an example of being independent but dependent on your affiliates. Now you have the bad side of dependent, where you all up on seeing somebody's face and all up on them, and then if they leave you can't function, and every little thing you can't. There's some people that can't hold a job because of their dependency. They may have a job for a week and be gone, or they have a dependency on drugs or something like that because they cope. I ain't throwing no shade, but I'm just keeping it real. Dependency is just depending. You can depend on healthy things or unhealthy things. The choice is yours. If you're dependent on unhealthy things, which is other people, that's toxic and negative, and you know this, but you don't want. But that's all you know. So, you're not willing to unlearn that. Or you dependent on, drugs to cope with something that you're not willing to deal with. That's the negative of dependency. Now, if you're dependent on people that have come through you in a serious need, then that's healthy. But don't get too carried away. Don't be so far gone on your dependency that you can't be the one that somebody needs to depend on. I'm just saying. I'm gonna just leave it like that. Don't get too carried away. They say don't get too what is it they say?
Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
That, and don't be too holy that earthly good.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. I ain't gonna say nothing else because I don't want nobody, calling and say, "Oh, you was wrong." And, I'm just gonna leave it alone here.
Amber, I'm just of the opinion that everybody has their opinion, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But there comes a time when reality has to surface.
Right.
And when reality finally does surface, you're going to get slapped in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And MBG has realize that we are an independent entity, but we have allowed others to feel like our success is dependent upon their involvement, which is not the case.
Mhm.
MBG is going to thrive with or without affiliates. And the reason I'm using the term affiliates is because in the coming months, you will begin to see MBG as an independent entity who strives wholeheartedly to partner with like-minded individuals and organizations who also function independently. And the importance in independence is maintaining who you are, and what you were founded upon. Maintaining your founding principles. Those original principles. The original infrastructure. Because we as women have to go back to what we were taught before we were so brainwashed. And that is to organize, to plan, and to implement. To nurture that which is given to us. And Amber, I think that's what it's about. I think that's what today's show is about. Today's show is about understanding that we're not saying that being dependent is a bad thing, but we are saying that being dependent can be bittersweet and it can be detrimental to your well-being. You need to have a to-do list. But you also should not
I got two right now I'm looking at. Checking off. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. But you also cannot forget to love yourself and others. And see, for a long time, I had such a large to-do list that I wasn't giving myself time to be loved. You know, and a young man told me that not too long ago, and he just straight up said, when do you allow somebody to love on you?
That's real.
And I said, that sounds like something a child say to their mama. And, you know, Amber J, you already know what time it is. But it is real. And, guys, when I tell you that the type of love that I'm talking about is not sexual by any means. When you allow somebody to love on you, you allow them to take care of you, sometimes physically, and I'm not saying financially, but doing the little things that you always do for yourself. You know, you forget to pick up something for the store, you're taking your clothes off, and you don't really feel like going out, but you don't want to ask anybody. And that individual will say to you, hey, do you need anything? I'm coming through. Yeah, can you do such and such? Oh, yeah, I got that. But even in doing that, there's something extra in the mix that you really didn't even realize you needed. Allow somebody to love on you. Allow somebody to be, you know, a support to you. That doesn't mean that you're dependent. It means that you're independent and strong. Because if you think back to what I said about it being independent and strong, a strong woman knows who she really is. So if you know that you are self-sufficient, if you know that you're resilient, if you know that you're financially literate, if you know that you have the ability to follow and lead and that you're organized and you're self-motivated and self-driven, then you won't worry about a man bringing you some groceries because you'll know within yourself, I can do this for myself.
Right.
But I'm allowing him to do this because he wants to show me how strong and independent he is.
Right. That's part of being a woman. It you know, missing it with the whole I'm independent, I'm bad by myself. But like you were saying, let a man be a man. Let somebody show you that they care.
Yep.
It's all good to be, I'm independent, I can do it, and you know that. But let somebody show you, okay, it's all right to just throw your hands up a little bit and let somebody else lead a little bit. It's okay.
Girl, it's crazy, and Amber, that's hard for me
Mhm.
because I always tell people, my dad was a strong man, but my family dynamic was interesting because my dad went into Alzheimer's, so my mother had to do everything, and that's what I remember. I remember Daddy being the man of the house, but I also remember him getting sick, and so that required her to have to step up to the plate. That's why I said that an independent woman has the ability to follow and to lead because I saw my mother follow, but I also saw my mother take control when she knew that her husband needed her most.
Right.
Wow,
Right.
Amber, we really been on. I'm excited. So, Amber, do I need to drop the bomb now or
Go
are you
ahead.
ready? Do you think they're
Yeah,
ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So, guys, next week, we are going to still focus on women, but we're going to talk about motivational brown girls as women. And along with that, next week we're going to talk about the women's marches. But MBG is getting ready to do a march. And that march is the rebranding of MBG. So MBG is taking a hiatus for the month of April from Sipping Tea with MBG. You will be able to catch us in the beginning of April on MBG Speaks 101 if you're Facebook Live or local. But MBG is taking a hiatus for the month of April from Sipping Tea, and we're going to come back to you after Mother's Day in May with who we really aspire to be and what MBG is going to be from here on out, because what we know is that we've been through a lot, and it's time. It is now time for us to truly step back and make things happen the MBG way. I think we have, what we've done is we've been codependent and we've been working because we want to be inclusive and we don't want people to ever feel like we're not trying to work to support them. But it's time for us to do what we're supposed to do. And so with that being stated, we thank you so much for rocking with MBG so far. You're listening to Sipping Tea with MBG, which airs every Saturday at 12 noon, guys. And please go back and listen to previous episodes so you can kind of follow along and know where we're going with this thing. But, Amber, this has been awesome. I don't think they're going to be ready.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either. But guys, you heard it here. MBG, gonna rebrand, and every now and then you have to do that even with yourself. But as we always say here, you have to always self-reflect. And shoot, I did it on my birthday, child. I broke down on my birthday, child. But that's another story.
Oh yeah, and Amber, that's something we can talk about next week when we talk about why we're refocusing. Because I'm going through a lot right now.
So, we'll just go ahead and tap in because, I had to sit down and focus. I turned another year, thank God. And I'm like, okay, and so I analyze everything. I'm like, what's the deal with me? What's holding me back? Why can't I just, I had to have a serious conversation with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I had to have a serious conversation with the Lord. With my my universe, y'all know me, I'm spiritual. I had to have a conversation. I had to tap in a little bit. I'm like, what is going on? What's wrong with me? I mean, girl, I'll get into it next week, girl. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, we're going to go in. It's all good. We're going to go in.
And, it's good to rebrand yourself every so often to self-reflect. You should do that. I mean, your body does it every so many years. Your cells do it every so many years. If you think about it, your cells change. Was it every 7?
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. Your body does changes to adapt to the environment. Why not you do the same? Not to necessarily adapt, but to just look at what's going on and what to do moving forward, what you need to drop, what you need to add. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So true.
But this is on Sipping Tea with MBG. And we next week, y'all make sure y'all tune in because it's going to be the end of March. And we're going to go in like we did for the past 2 months. I'm Amber J. We got Lily Mae. And as always, MBG listens.
And then we speak.
See y'all next week. Hey, hey, hey.